of high quality shooting before the Fever begin day 4 of training camp. This is Caitlin Clark getting some shots in before we start.
Look at that rotation. Caitlin Clark drilling catch and shoot threes in rapid succession during Indiana Fever training camp. This isn't random warm-up work, this is deliberate, focused preparation for a completely different role than what we saw last season. And the timing of this specific drill tells us everything about Stephanie White's offensive system, ball.
How will the Indiana Fever be using her? Are we setting multiple screens for her, trying to get her open, a la Klay Thompson, a la Ray Allen, a la Rip Hamilton? Or are we just using her as a decoy? Or are we using her as a screener? Well, today in practice, Caitlin Clark taking a lot of catch and shoot threes. I'm sure she does this every day, but today seemed to be a focused in practice. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like the video.
Stephanie White just laid out the blueprint right there. Multiple screens, Klay Thompson style movement, Rip Hamilton coming off pin downs. This is the question that's been haunting Fever fans since the coaching change. When Caitlin plays off ball, is she actually getting designed actions, or is she just standing in the corner as a decoy? Because last season, under Christie Sides, we saw way too much of the latter. Clark would give up the ball, then watch possessions unfold from the weak side with zero movement, zero screens, zero purpose. That's not how you utilize a 40% three-point shooter who can relocate faster than almost anyone in the league.
Game, I'm not too mad at watching Kelsey Mitchell take a couple steps inside the three-point line, pull up, midi, catch and shoot three. Kelsey Mitchell, solid catch and shoot three off the dribble, not nearly as good catch and shoot. But Kelsey Mitchell's mid-range games, I mean, she's nice from the mid-range. She's nice finishing around the rim. So, you know, not too mad seeing Kelsey Mitchell over there. Then we got Caitlin Clark and folks shooting some shots.
Now watch Kelsey Mitchell working that mid-range game. Pull up from 15 feet, catch and shoot from the elbow. Mitchell shot 38% from 3 last season, but her efficiency jumped to 46% on mid-range attempts. That versatility is critical, because defenses are going to load up on Clark. When that happens, Mitchell, operating in that 12 to 17 foot range, becomes the pressure release valve. And notice something else in this clip, Mitchell and Clark aren't working in isolation. They're rotating through the same spots, getting up shots from identical locations. That's scheme work, that's building chemistry on specific actions they'll run in games.
Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark showing us what elite shooting looks like. As they're in the corner, just rotating one by one. Catch and shoot, catch and shoot. There's CC. There's CC again. And there's CC again. Here comes Money Mitch. Pull up, bang. Money Mitch, pull up, bang. Money Mitch, pull up. Oh, there it is. That's what we like to see. That's what we like to see from the best backcourt in the league. That's what we like to see from the best back.
There it is. The best backcourt in the league, and that's not hyperbole. Last season, Clark averaged 19 points and 9 assists in just 13 games before her quad and groin injuries ended her year. Mitchell put up 17 points per game on 40% shooting from deep. Combined, they accounted for 43% of Indiana's total offense, but here's what makes this backcourt truly elite: they don't need the ball in their hands simultaneously to be effective. Clark can facilitate while Mitchell works off screens, Mitchell can handle while Clark relocates. That two-way flexibility is what separates good backcourts from championship-caliber ones. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, health. The Fever finished 24-20 last season despite losing Clark for 27 games, Aaliyah Boston for 15 games, and Alyssa Smith for 12 games. That's their 3 best players missing a combined 54 games. You can't compete for championships when your core spends more time in the training room than on the court.
Winning. Being able to play with Caitlin Clark, I think that was a huge eye-opening. Like, I had the opportunity to play with one of the greatest.
She gets it. She gets it. She gets it.
What becomes like the main thing?
Winning. Being able to play with Caitlin Clark, I think that was a huge eye-opening. Like, I had the opportunity to play with one of the greatest players that's ever going to play the game of basketball. So for me, once I also heard that, like, oh, she really wants me here too, I was like...
Misha Hines-Allen didn't dance around it. Being able to play with Caitlin Clark, I think that was a huge eye-opener. I have the opportunity to play with one of the greatest players that's ever going to play the game. Once I heard that she really wants me here too, I was like, let's get it done. That's the Caitlin Clark effect in real time. Hines-Allen is a 7-year veteran who averaged 9 points and 5 rebounds with Atlanta last season. She had options, but the chance to play with Clark, and compete for a championship, closed the deal immediately, and this is the shift that's happening across the WNBA. For years, players made decisions based on market size, coaching stability, or organizational culture. Those factors still matter, but now there's a new variable. Do you want to play with Caitlin Clark? Because playing with her means national television games, sold-out arenas, and genuine championship contention. That's not speculation, that's observable reality.
Giving us an update on team health before the season. Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White is bringing good news and optimism ahead of 2026 opening night. The Fever enter a new campaign with high hopes after a 2025 season ravaged by the injury bug. Superstar Caitlin Clark appeared in just 13 games. Sophie Cunningham, Sydney Colson, Ari McDonald, and Chloe Bibby also suffered season-ending injuries. Despite the luck, the team finished 24-20 after losing the semifinals against the Las Vegas Aces. The Fever are 2 days into their official training camp ahead of May 9th season opener. Coming off a long layoff, conditioning will always play a factor for any team. That holds especially true for a Fever squad decimated by injuries a year ago. Stephanie White, quote, "I believe so. I think we got through the first 2 days healthy. I haven't heard a whole lot, so I think it's good. Soreness, of course, as it always is. The only people not healthy are..."
Stephanie White addressed the health question directly. "I think we got through the first 2 days healthy that I haven't heard a whole lot, so I think it's good soreness. The only people not healthy are the coaches." That's exactly what Fever fans needed to hear. Clark participated fully in FIBA World Cup qualifying in February, earning MVP honors with 11 points and 6.5 assists per game on 51% shooting. The quad strain and groin injury that ended her 2025 season, fully healed. Boston signed a 4-year extension and looks completely healthy. The injury crisis that derailed last season appears to be in the rearview mirror, but health is just the foundation. The real question is whether this roster construction can actually win a championship. Indiana brought back Lexi Hull, added Monique Billings from Atlanta, signed Temi Fagbenel, brought in Ty Harris off the bench, and drafted Raven Johnson. That's 6 new rotation pieces around the Clark-Mitchell-Boston core. Chemistry doesn't happen overnight, which makes these preseason games absolutely critical. Big.
Folks, I want to know everybody's predictions in the comment section below. What are you expecting from Caitlin Clark as far as stats go? What are you hoping for as far as stats go? Kelsey Mitchell, same thing with Aaliyah Boston. I'm hoping we get 17, something like 17 and 10 from AB. I'm hoping we see a jump like that. Something like 17 and 10. She takes a couple extra attempts a game. Maybe she gets to the free throw lines a few more times in the game to get those points. But I'm hoping for a 17 and 10 from AB. I'm hoping for a 23-25 from CC. I'm hoping that we get at least over 20 points per game from Kelsey Money Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, Monique Billings, Ty Harris. The collective rest of the group can chip in here and there. Hopefully this team, hopefully Stephanie White lets them play. Hopefully Stephanie White lets them play, and we get a 9.
Here's what success looks like this season. Aaliyah Boston needs to average 17 points and 10 rebounds. Last year, she put up 14 and 9, but she took just 10 shots per game. That's not nearly enough for someone with her efficiency around the rim. Boston shot 57% from the field last season. When you're that efficient, you should be getting 15 to 17 attempts per game, not 10. More touches in the post, more pick and roll opportunities with Clark, more trips to the free throw line. If Boston can add 3 points and 1 rebound to her averages, that alone transforms Indiana's half-court offense. Caitlin Clark should be targeting 23 to 25 points per game with 9 assists. That's not unrealistic. In her 13 healthy games last season, she averaged 19 and 9. Give her a full season, better spacing with Hines Allen and Fagbennel, and Stephanie White's motion offense, 23 points becomes the floor, not the ceiling. And here's the critical detail: Clark needs to be taking 6 to 7 threes per game, not 4, not 5, 6 to 7. When you shoot 40% from deep and can create separation off the dribble or relocate off screens, you don't put handcuffs on that weapon, you unleash it. Kelsey Mitchell needs to maintain her 20 points per game while improving her shot selection. Mitchell took 17 shots per game last season, which is appropriate for a primary scorer, but too many of those attempts came off the dribble in isolation situations where she's a 33% shooter. When Mitchell catches and shoots, she's a 40% three-point shooter. When she operates in the mid-range off 1 or 2 dribbles, she's incredibly efficient. It's the deep isolation possessions that kill her efficiency. If White can get Mitchell cleaner looks within the offense, 22 points on better efficiency is absolutely achievable.
A fever offense. There's enough on this team if you let Caitlin Clark do her thing that they can score 90. We don't need to drag every game out and do 70 points per game, 80 points per game. We don't need to do that. We can say, yeah, run and gun, transition, push the pace, push tempo. You got an open shot, shoot it. Caitlin Clark, I want you to shoot 6, 7 threes a game. I don't even want you to think about it. You think you can shoot it? Go ahead, shoot it. I don't want to put any handcuffs on you at all.
Now, let's talk about what this means for the offensive system. Stephanie White wants to push pace and score 90 points per game. That's not some pie-in-the-sky fantasy. Indiana averaged 83 points per game last season, despite all the injuries and despite Christy Sides running a slow, methodical offense that ranked 23rd in pace. White's system in Connecticut emphasized transition, early offense, and quick decision-making. That philosophy fits this roster perfectly. Clark is elite in transition, Mitchell can push the break and finish, Boston runs the floor better than almost any center in the league. The pieces are there to be a top 5 offense in pace and efficiency, but pace only works if you have the depth to sustain it. That's music, where Billings, Harris, and Johnson become critical. Billings averaged 7 points and 6 rebounds in 23 minutes per game with Atlanta last season. She's not a star, but she's a high-energy rebounder who can give Boston rest without the defense collapsing. Harris provides perimeter shooting off the bench. Johnson, the 9th overall pick, brings elite on-ball defense that Indiana desperately needed. Last season, the Fever ranked 19th in defensive rating. You can't win championships giving up 85 points per game. Johnson's defensive intensity could be the difference between a second-round exit and a finals appearance.
To the Bendino Podcast, where we're calling a spade. Great to be here with you guys today. Saturday can't come fast enough. I am anxious. I am eager to see what this Indiana Fever team is going to look like this season. I'm eager to see how Caitlin Clark is going to be utilized. I'm eager to see how Aaliyah Boston takes a step up in performance. Is that aggressive Aaliyah Boston that we saw in Unrivaled? Is that carrying over to the 2026 season? I'm eager to see how Monique Billings fits in. I'm eager to see how Ty Harris is off the bench. I'm eager to see is Raven Johnson the defender everybody's saying she is. I'm eager to see.
Listen to that excitement. That's genuine anticipation for what this team can become, and it's justified. Indiana hasn't won a WNBA championship since 2012. They've made the playoffs just 3 times in the last 8 seasons, but this roster, with this coaching staff, with Caitlin Clark healthy, this is the most talented Fever team in over a decade. The question isn't whether they can make the playoffs, the question is whether they can win the Eastern Conference and compete for a title. Here's what we know going into Saturday's first preseason game against Connecticut. The starting lineup will likely be Clark, Mitchell, Hull, Hines Allen, and Boston. That's 3 elite shooters, one of the best passing point guards in the league, and an all-star center. The second unit features Harris, Johnson, Fagbenell, Billings, and potentially Damiris Dantas. That's legitimate NBA-level depth. Most WNBA teams have 6 or 7 players who can contribute. Indiana has 9 or 10, but depth only matters if the system maximizes each player's strengths. That's where Stephanie White's coaching becomes the X factor. White won a championship as an assistant with the Fever in 2012. She was head coach in Indiana from 2015 to 2016, going 41-39. After that, she spent 3 years as an assistant with the Connecticut Sun, helping develop one of the league's most efficient offenses. She knows how to build systems around elite talent, how to manage rotations, and most importantly, how to win in Indiana. Watch what happens in these preseason games. Watch how Clark is utilized off-ball. Is she coming off multiple screens like Klay Thompson? Is she relocating to open spots like Reggie Miller used to? Or is she standing stationary in the corner while someone else runs pick and roll? That detail will tell us everything about whether White's system is real or just talk. Watch how Boston is featured in the post. Is she getting early touches to establish position? Is she running pick and roll with Clark where both players are genuine threats? Or is she camping on the weak side waiting for offensive rebounds? Watch how Mitchell operates within the offense. Is she getting clean catch and shoot looks? Is she attacking closeouts and getting to the mid-range? Or is she forcing contested isolation threes? Those details matter because preseason isn't about wins and losses. It's about installing the system and building chemistry. Indiana plays 4 preseason games before opening the regular season on May 9 against the New York Liberty. That's 4 opportunities to test lineups, experiment with rotations, and identify what works before games actually count. Smart teams use preseason to take risks and gather information. Dumb teams use preseason to play it safe and learn nothing. Here's my prediction. Indiana finishes this season with 30 wins and makes it to the Eastern Conference Finals at minimum. That's not blind optimism, that's based on talent, coaching, and health. The East runs through New York and Connecticut, but both teams have question marks. The Liberty lost Breanna Stewart for 6 weeks with a knee injury. Connecticut is running back essentially the same roster that lost in the semifinals last year. Indiana, meanwhile, added 3 legitimate rotation players and has a healthy Caitlin Clark for a full season. If Boston takes the leap we're expecting, if Mitchell maintains her scoring efficiency, if the defense improves with Johnson's presence, this team can absolutely win the East. But it all starts Saturday. 4 days of training camp down, first preseason game on deck. This is where we find out if the hype matches reality. This is where we see if Stephanie White's system actually unlocks Caitlin Clark's off-ball potential. This is where we discover if Aaliyah Boston is ready to be the dominant two-way center this team needs. This is where the Indiana Fever either confirm they're championship contenders or reveal they're still a year away. So here's my question for you. What are your predictions for Caitlin Clark's stats this season? What do you expect from Aaliyah Boston? Can Kelsey Mitchell maintain 20 points per game with more mouths to feed? Drop your predictions in the comments. Tell me if you think Indiana can win the East. Tell me if you think I'm overrating this roster or underselling what they can accomplish, because Saturday is just the beginning. This season is going to be special, and I want to hear what you think happens next.